Hi, my name is Gerhard Gschwandtner, and welcome to Selling Power TV. Today, we have the great pleasure of meeting with Warren Senna. He's the founder and CEO of the CRO Collective. Welcome, Warren.
Thank you, Gerhard. Pleasure to be here, and thanks for having me on.
What does CRO stand for?
It's the Chief Revenue Officer.
So why do companies need a Chief Revenue Officer?
First of all, the Chief Revenue Officer role is almost, if not exclusively, a B2B role. And B2B companies need, in my view, a Chief Revenue Officer when they reach a certain level of functional complexity where a marketing and sales and customer success function need to be aligned. And the Chief Revenue Officer's job is to build what I call a revenue team. And the CRO's role is to coalesce the most customer-facing parts of a company, which are the sales, marketing, customer success functions, to build a aligned and cohesive organization that actually drives scalable revenue.
So it becomes a more strategic function.
Exactly, 100%.
What historically has changed in the market that required the role of a CRO?
The CRO role arguably is about 10 years old. And if you recall, right, when Silicon Valley became really big, the tech boom really got big, most of the tech companies were led by what we call these sort of product-led founders. They're people whom are brilliant engineers who came up with great ideas and built a great product, and they have an idea that they're able to execute and bring to market, but they don't have a lot of commercial expertise. In order to scale that business, most of these founders needed somebody to come in that had commercial experience. Over the course of that 10 years, as the complexities of the B2B sales and marketing functions evolved, which they did considerably, right, through a number of different reasons, which we can get into, the CRO role almost became exclusively a sales leadership role. As a matter of fact, if you look at almost 90% of the CRO job descriptions right now on LinkedIn, almost all of them focus almost exclusively, if not predominantly, on selling, right? So the CRO is almost like a sales leader with a C-suite title. And this is actually a problem. If the CRO is really should be overseeing all three of these different marketing, sales, customer success functions, a sales-led CRO is naturally going to make everything about sales. And it ends up creating more division amongst those three organizations that already exist, and it creates problems that CEOs many times aren't really aware of. That's why this entire undertaking was put in place, was to sort of recalibrate the way CEOs view the CRO role in order to build organizations that actually build value for customers and scalable value for customers and focus on customer outcomes.
Very few CEOs have actual sales experience. Is there a natural tension between the CEO and in the emerging role of the CRO?
There certainly is. And the problem is that with that is they don't understand the sales process, and they need sales, right? They want growth. And they're the ones that usually hire CROs as salespeople. But what they're doing is making a major error, because most of the CEOs that you and I describe this type are not aware of the silos and the fractional aspects that go into building a revenue team that happen naturally. And so if I have an organization that has a survival roadmap, which get these metrics from me, which many times are not really important metrics. A lot of the MQLs that are developed I don't really know where they come from. What you have right there is now marketing and sales are going to blame each other, or they're going to try and steal credit from one another. And you're creating a cultural situation. You're setting people up to not work together. And that's usually what happens. So the tension between the CRO and the CEO, this can be mitigated, right, through my program by recalibrating the way a CEO views the role of CRO and sets the organization up in a way that they don't contend. As a matter of fact, now the CRO is the most trusted and important deputy that the CEO has, because this person's running things in a way that's going to support the CEO's desired outcome.
What can people expect from the CRO Collective? What are you offering?
We serve three core cohorts within our organization. So one is we call the aspiring CRO, whom I referenced earlier. That could be a head of sales, someone who's had a long career in leading sales teams and has aspirations to be a chief revenue officer. And then the second group would be the CRO, right? Now, my focus on CROs would be really more, I'd call the starter CRO, right? Or the recently hired CRO. I train and work with CROs to help them kind of recalibrate the way they approach the role, get themselves out of sometimes frequently the mess that they end themselves into unintentionally. And, many CROs have a lot of challenges in the first, 6 months of a job. And I help them kind of figure out, I have a methodology and a course that I help them with, and I do some one-on-one coaching with them. And then lastly, as I work with companies, I work with CEOs of B2B businesses to help them build what I call CRO-ready organizations. And this is critical because in order for a CRO to succeed today in the way that I'm prescribing, a company first needs to be ready for one. And most companies are not because they don't hire them properly. I'm also developing the CRO community, which will be either a Slack-based community or there'll be another platform. We're kind of in the process of figuring that out, where CROs will have the opportunity to be part of a larger community where they can focus just in on that role. And lastly, I'm putting together a senior level CRO group for seasoned chief revenue officers where they have sort of a private and confidential space where they can all share with each other, because CROs really, really are clamoring for collaboration amongst other senior level CROs. And that's something I'm getting asked about a lot.
How can people get in touch with you, Warren?
So you can go to my site, which is thecrocollective.com, or you can reach me on LinkedIn. I'm the only Warren Zenna in the entire world, so I'm pretty easy to find. And I'm pretty vocal there, so you'll probably see a lot of stuff that I've posted, and you can DM me. Those are most of the ways people get a hold of me, is either through my website or through LinkedIn.